Hi, this is Tim Langley. I want to talk to you for just a minute about an important matter, a matter that's important to me and apparently millions of Americans across the country. And that's the topic of school shootings. You know, we've just gotten through the Sandy Hook massacre, and of course the government is pushing assault weapons bans and looking for a variety of different ways to prevent quote-unquote gun violence. You know, I have several ideas on this whole issue. You know, one of the suggestions by the National Rifle Association was to arm teachers. Now, is this the answer to preventing school shootings? Hell no, it's not. While I agree that having personnel trained in how to use firearms and actually having them carry if they're trained to do so and to respond to emergency situations, that's not going to prevent the problem. The real problem, as I see it, is that, and it's not even the drugs. You know, a lot of folks talk about all these antidepressants and all sorts of psychotropic drugs, and while there is a common thread of those drugs either being taken or someone coming off of those drugs, the drugs really aren't the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is that there are a lot of young people, a lot of people, period, in America who have a distorted view of reality. And, you know, so we end up taking drugs to deal with depression or a distorted view of what our particular situation is, and we end up in a situation where folks are desperate. There's a lack of hope and not a lack of despair. And when people reach a certain point where they just literally give up, then they reach out and they strike. That really is the issue that we need to deal with. It's not one of medicating a problem away. Actually, when we medicate a problem, it's just like an alcoholic or an addict just needing another fix. We just cover up the problem and push it on down the road a little bit. And we seem to be doing a lot of that in our culture these days. The problem starts with the individual. You know, we need to teach people to be responsible and to respect who they are and what they are. You know, as a chiropractor, I deal with the nervous system. You know, I know a lot of people think about chiropractors for backaches, neck aches, cricks, and strains, but it's really a whole lot more than that. I deal with the nervous system, and the nervous system is the system in the body that enables us to properly perceive the world around us and to perceive what's going on inside our body and how we relate to our entire environment. And when there's a distortion in how we perceive the world, then there's a distortion in how we react to that perception. And when we start at a very young age with stress on the nervous system, then we pile up years and years and years and years and years of distortions. And instead of helping someone cope with their situation and broaden their perspective on their life and broaden their perspective on who they are and how powerful they really are, until we reach that point, then we'll continue to raise kids who are desperate for attention, who are desperate for hope, who are tired of being pushed around, who are tired of being weak, who eventually strike out at others for attention, for revenge, for some sort of distorted self-satisfaction. You know, when we birth babies in our culture, we start by yanking their head to pull them out of their mom's womb. And then they end up with a little problem at the top of the neck a lot of times. Sometimes that results in colic or sleeplessness, sometimes SIDS, sometimes diarrhea, sometimes who knows what. But there's, from the point of birth in those particular situations, there's a distortion in how that little brain interprets the body that it controls and the environment that it doesn't. And so you allow that to pile up for 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and you end up with a person whose perception of reality is so distorted that the only way that they can really express themselves is by exploding and taking the lives of others. I know this is a strange message, me encouraging you to see a chiropractor or to take your children to see a chiropractor to prevent such crazy maladies. But you know what? We need a solution that's outside the box. Our current level of thinking has led us to a chaotic way of life where kids are killing kids and where we just continue to put a Band-Aid on all of our problems, turning our head hoping that it goes away or so that we don't see it. When the solution is wholeness, fullness, personal accountability and responsibility, and respect for others, and respect for ourselves. I work with a unique bunch of chiropractors all over this country, dedicated to making your life and the life of your children and your family and your friends better than it ever has been, better than you can even imagine sometimes. If you're in the Atlanta area, I'd love to help you out. If you're looking for someone anywhere in America or, frankly, anywhere on the planet, I'd love to have the opportunity to help you out. My name is Dr. Tim Langley. I'm a chiropractor in Marietta, Georgia. I specialize in hope. If you need some of that, you call me or you write me. Thanks. Have a great day.